The background material in this video can be viewed at thewaythetruthandthelife.net. More specific references will be given in the notes.
As parents, when we have children, we have to be really careful what we do. Because it's spirit to spirit, even when your kids, when you're messing around, committing sin, it's going to be passed on to your children whether you like it or not, nor to not believe it or not. When God said don't sin, he really meant it. Believe me, he meant that. All who sin are slaves. And Jesse Jackson Sr. is a sinner of the worst kind. And he's always been that way. I remember when he was and I write about it in my book, Scam, how the black leadership exploits black America. When Jesse Jackson was a part of Martin Luther King Jr.'s movement, they didn't get along at all. They did not get along. And Dr. King would throw Jesse Jackson out of his organization over and over again. And when Martin Luther King was assassinated, Jackson ran over and put some what looked like red blood on his shirt and went around telling the media and everybody that Martin Luther King Jr. died in his arms. And when pressed by the media to tell the truth, he finally admitted that he lied, that he had put something on his shirt that looked like blood. Dr. King did not die in his arms. So Jackson has been rotten to the core forever. And I just believe he's passed that stuff on to his children. He has a wife who knows that he committed adultery, and yet she, instead of repudiating Jackson, she stood up for him. It's a mess, folks. You got to learn how to deal with pressure. You really have to learn how to deal with pressure. Last night we had our women's forum. Every third Thursday night we have a meeting for women only. And I have to tell you, it was our last Thursday night meeting for women for this year, and it was more than a notion. I was encouraged by the women honesty last night. And right on, ladies, and the truth shall make you free. But what I realized is that women really need good men to guide them. It's not a macho thing. It's a righteous thing ordained by God. And women need men to guide them.
Have you cared for a mate and made a home? Have you had children and cared about the community that they grow into? Have you had children that grew up and you learned to care about the world of work and war that they grow into, or the education system that they're subject to? Have you felt the pain of things being degraded in your lifetime? Then you will very much find in Jesse a man who is able to care about family, home, community, and others, and shares your concern over the corrupt and degrading state that is happening in our society today.
Ever notice how you come across somebody once in a while you shouldn't have messed with? That's me.
I am not an African American.
You're Oreo cookie, white in the inside and black on the outside.
I don't have an afro, I have an Amerifro.
Talking that idiotic stuff you talk about, I will slap you.
Go ahead, make my day.
Black as the ace of spades, but 100% American.
Heard around the world by everybody and their mama. The Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. Welcome to the show. You can get involved by calling 888-7753-773, 888-77-JESSE. It's Friday, and today is the 16th, I believe. Donald from Russia. He's calling all the way from Russia, and he wants to speak to you. Hey, Donald, welcome to the show, sir. Thank you for calling. Are you able to help Frank out here?
Oh, my Lord. Oh, I no, I don't think so. I'd like to actually change the subject because it's just nonsense.
But Frank is go ahead.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
That's what
And
I'm
Obama
saying.
is the
That's
president.
all I'm saying.
And Blackwater wasn't responsible for Benghazi. There were no Blackwater there. There was CIA and FBI, and they were told to stand down twice. And on the thing about unions, Twinkie companies going out of business, 1,700 people losing their jobs because they went on strike and they can't afford it.
Frank just
There are
said that.
important things to talk about, not the nonsense of justifying.
Frank just said that after liberals are saying, MSNBC liberals are saying that Jesus Christ was a socialist, so what's wrong with Obama being a socialist?
I didn't say that.
How do you respond?
Did you ever read what Paul wrote? If they won't,
you did say that Jesus was a socialist.
Don't let them eat.
But I never said that.
They won't work. Don't let them eat.
I agree with what Obama's doing.
Hold on, Frank.
I did say that.
Hold on, Frank. What did you say about? Go ahead, Donna. Restate your statement.
Paul said, "If they won't work, don't let them eat." That's in the Bible.
A workman is worthy of his hire. He did say that. I'm not discrediting it.
Yes,
I never
but he said
that people shouldn't work. Jesus himself worked.
Listen. I actually I've been waiting a long time. There's so many important things, and they're saying things that aren't true. I mean,
what did I say that wasn't true?
Hey, Donna, hold on for me. I'll come back to you. I want to just finish up with Frank. Frank, if I were you, I would recheck. I would go back into my prayer closet to make sure that.
No, I don't have to go. I don't have to do that, brother. I think you need to. I think
for you to say,
the races with truth.
Frank,
Can you say you're uniting the races with truth?
Frank,
did you not say that?
For you to
did you not say that, bro?
Frank, calm down.
I am. I'm calm.
Calm down. You sound like an angry black man.
I'm trying to answer. I'm trying to get questions, and you're over talking me.
Frank,
that's, and you're trying to reverse it. Go ahead. For
you to say that Jesus was a socialist, you've been influenced by the liberals, and you really need to rethink your.
Before you go to break, can I make one more point?
What point you want to make?
Can I make one more?
Real fast.
Did Jesus not say, sell all that you have and give to the poor and follow me? Did he not say that?
Is that what Obama doing?
Did he not say, no, listen.
Is that what Obama doing?
This is not about
I don't know what that has to do with anything that's happening today.
This is about Jesus. I'm explaining to you, this is not about Obama, this is about Jesus, and you're right.
Substantial risk.
You know, I have been wanting to call for so long, and I have realized that, Jesse, you're out there, and you speak the truth. When you speak about truth and principle, it is very simple. When you are speaking on principle, it is right on. I can tell you that it is a pleasure to be a proud listener and sponsor to your program, your show. I will continue listening and supporting and starting to speak up a lot more because I'm encouraged by you, Jesse.
We are rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. We don't get money from the government, never have in the 22 years of being in operation. We have a home for young men, helping find jobs, start businesses, get married, and we need your support. And we do appreciate those who are helping us. Thank you in advance. Go to bondinfo.org, bondinfo.org, or call 1-800-411-2663, 1-800-411-BOND.org. Let me just say, the board is smoking here. There's not a line open at this point. I'm going to move all calls, and I do appreciate them. I do want to this is for Frank and the rest of the so-called ministers out there who says that, well, didn't Jesus say, give up all your money and things and follow me? Yes, he said that to, for what I know, a particular guy that was rich, and he wanted to know how can I follow you, I help you, and be with you. He said, give up all your wealth and come with me. And the point that Jesus wanted to make is that this guy loved wealth, and he loved money and things more than he loved what was right. And when Jesus said, give up what you have, he was telling this man to give up his own stuff that he had earned, not somebody else's stuff. And Barack Obama is giving away our money, our stuff, to lazy, godless people that don't want to do for themselves. So that's not what Jesus meant at all, Frank. You got to get over your brainwashing. You have been brainwashed and don't know it. Andre, what did the Nazis say about brainwashing? It's hard to. He'll get that for me. Once a person's brainwashed and don't know that they are brainwashed, then how do they discover that they're brainwashed? Frank is brainwashed. When he said Jesus is a socialist, when he said that Jesus is told you to give up everything, that's brainwashing. Frank didn't create that thought. I hear that all the time from the liberals. The Nazis said, Mark Twain said, it's easier to fool people than it is to convince them that they have been fooled. It's easier to fool people than it is to convince them that they have been fooled. Mark Twain said that. And we just heard a good example of that from Frank. Let me go back to Donald out of Russia. He's calling from Russia. Donald, thanks for your patience, man. You're back on the air.
Yes. There's so many things that how you put up with some of it, I don't know, because they're just saying things that aren't true. Before I get to my main point, they had on the news, there was in Philadelphia, there was districts where there were 18,000 votes for Obama and not one vote for Romney.
Not one. Isn't that amazing?
Not one. But, this class hatred stuff is here in Russia. That's what they use. It's very much like the black on white type of thing.
Yeah.
But here it was class hatred. The haves versus the have-nots.
And that's what Obama tried to create here in this country.
Oh, it's a shame. But, Jesse, let me just share a thought with you, because I like to I like to get into some insight. Like last time I talked, I said, what a wonderful age we're living in, the spirit of truth. We've discovered the atom and nuclear, electricity. They didn't have electricity when my grandma was born.
Yeah.
So we're just, to discover God's laws of society and psychology, it's a little bit harder. But I want to share one thing with you and your listeners, and it's a professor from Harvard. Now, I never went to high school, even though I got college degrees. I got an equivalency test in the service. But this Steve Pinker, he's a professor from Harvard, and he gave a lecture on the surprising decline in violence. But he went through the history of hunter-gatherers over a couple million years, and they've been able to investigate tribes that are hunter-gatherers today, and the violence is terrible.
Yeah.
And it'll give you some insight into why women have a problem. That's why I'm bringing this up. Now, you can go to YouTube. It's Steve Pinker, and the title is The Surprising Decline in Violence. It was going to be the myth of the noble savage. But here's the point. The men, up to 60% of the men in these hunter-gatherer tribes died from violence. And the reason that they died was two things. It was hunting and attacking another tribe to get their young women. For a couple of million years, women have been taken, many of them, violently. And the ones that went along to get along were the ones that survived. A lot of godly women never made it because they resisted.
Yeah.
And
Donald, hold on,
yeah.
Donald. I'll let you finish that point when I come back. 888-77-JESSE.
She checks out most of what she does. Chapel reminds me that there's room
Okay, welcome back. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Straight back to the phones here. Let's get it off your chest Friday. Express yourself. Donald is calling from Russia. Donald, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Jesse, and thank you for being there.
Yes, sir. You're welcome. Finish your point.
Steve Pinker went back over the history, and there in the current times there's still some hunter-gatherer tribes, but the point is, for a couple million years, the major cause of death has been violence for men, and women the main cause. And this is part of God's laws of genetics. You know, if a tribe interbreeds, there's a degeneracy, sickness, because you shouldn't marry your sister or your cousin because there's a genetic difficulty there.
Right.
So the stronger tribes would attack other tribes to get their young women. But just the point is, women have had to suffer millions and millions of years, and that's left a mark on them. I had experience as a teacher. Our assistant principal at Sweet Home High School had a meeting. They had this integration thing, blacks coming out into the suburbs. And we had a meeting, and he asked, how can we help these young black women? The white girls like the black boys. The black boys like the white girls. But the white boys don't like the black girls. Nobody invite them to a dance. If they come, nobody was dancing with the black girls. And it doesn't have anything to do with race, because the same thing when you go. My wife grew up in Armenia, and the Armenian boys were very much attracted to the light Russian women, and vice versa. But the same thing for any army guy who went to Korea, went to Germany, wherever. The invader the young women are attracted to the invader. That's my point.
I've said for the last 22 years is that this battle that we're fighting in America today has nothing to do with color at all. Nothing to do with race. Is a spiritual battle between good and evil. But what has happened is that the children of Satan, the liberal Democrats, they are winning this battle because they're vicious, they're mean, they don't back down, they just attack, and the Republicans or the folks who represent good are starting to pull back or go along with, or they're afraid to speak up. And the only reason that the children of Satan are using this word racism, because it has a way of hypnotizing and controlling. And all they have to say to black people that it's racist, and blacks fall into a trance. They go into a trance, and they do whatever these Democrats want them to do.
Jesse, you made a point when you were on that Roy Masters show. You said that women getting the vote, and a lot of people attacked you. But the point I try to make, women have a problem because they've been violated so much.
Yes.
And when you read in Exodus chapter 34, let me read 2 verses.
Real fast, and then I have to run.
Okay. This was the Lord speaking to Moses. And the Lord passed by. But what he said was that he has mercy to the thousands. But the sins of the fathers will be visited on the children to the 3rd and 4th generation.
Yes, sir.
And Jesse, with the women's liberation, homosexual liberation, and the children, autism has gone from 1 in 17,000 to 1 in 54 in my lifetime.
Amazing.
The home is broken down.
Go ahead.
I just wonder, when it says the sins of the fathers are visited on the children, this breakdown and women taking control, and maybe 3rd and 4th generation means after that it's over. If you look at old cultures, whenever they got affluence and the women got control, it was the destruction of the culture.
I've been saying that, again, a long time. I saw this happen in the black family some 50 years or so under Lyndon B. Johnson and the so-called civil rights leaders. They took the fathers out of the home. The government became the daddy, and the corrupt leader became the head of the people. It's been downhill ever since. And then I noticed that as the black women have taken over the homes and taken over the workplace in the black community, things are worse and not better. And then the liberal white women protested. They wanted civil rights for the women. They wanted this and they wanted that. And now
control their bodies so they can murder their babies.
That's amazing to me. But now they have power to vote. They especially with the Democratic women. There are more Democrat women, something like 50% women now in the Democratic Party, and they are for everything that's wrong. They are for everything that goes against the family, and they are for everything that goes against God. But the thing I'm concerned about is that I don't see enough Christians standing up and fighting against that. And these women have voting power. They are like congressmen and senators now. And we are in serious trouble because they're destroying everything that is of God. And no one is talking about it.
I hear you. You're right, but you're missing one point.
What's that?
The biggest here in Russia, the terrorism of Islam is terrible. They're against the peaceful imams because they're not following the Quran. They're using women and then promoting them now. That's their weapon against Islam. The liberals are raising women up in all kinds of positions.
Yep. It's happening here as well.
That's their weapon against Islam.
That's exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
That's why I say these women are creating a shameless society, and we need to talk about it. And when you talk about it, they say, "Oh, you hate women," and they go after you, just as they do when you expose the homosexuals or the racist blacks or whatever. They don't want this type of truth to get out. We got to tell the truth, Donald, or we're going to lose America.
Thank you. God bless you, because it's very hard to find people that can even talk common sense, let alone look into things.
It is. Hey, Donald, I mean,
just on your program, I heard so many things said that just weren't true.
I know, and but they are brainwashed, and they don't know it, and it's hard to get them to see that they are brainwashed.
Can I call you next Friday?
Donald, you can call me anytime you want to.
Okay, thanks. It's a blessing.
The same here. Thank you, buddy. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. 888-77-JESSE. Back in a moment.
To find more of Jesse Lee Peterson's videos, just search Jesse Lee Peterson on YouTube. There's 2 background videos that you might be interested in from my point of view, and that search YouTube for 073 The Way, the Truth, and the Life, and 074 The Way, the Truth, and the Life on YouTube.